So, welcome back to the channel. Now, Roger Bannister. So, there's a name you probably haven't heard in a while. But when Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, what happened? Did human performance suddenly skyrocket and change overnight? No, of course not. So, what changed? Belief is what changed. Almost overnight, other runners suddenly did exactly the same thing. Within a matter of weeks, even the same week, they broke the 4-minute mile. Basically, what had seemed impossible the week before suddenly became normal. Because once they'd seen Roger Bannister beat that 4-minute mile, there was suddenly a landslide of other people doing it. So where am I going with all of this? Basically, quitting drinking is the same. Once your brain believes that life is better without alcohol, the friction that comes with quitting alcohol basically melts away. And the reason that you keep falling back into the same old patterns and keep going back to the drink is not because you're weak, not because you're stupid, not because of whatever reason you have in your head. Basically, what's happening is you are working with the wrong data set, okay? And my job is to change that. And I can promise you, if you stick around, by the end of this video, we're going to cover 3 key topics and you're going to understand them. So number 1, why belief and not willpower is actually the deciding factor here. Number 2, how the brain uses reference experiences to rewire and make sense of the world around it. And number 3 is what the inflection point feels like when all of this comes together, and the results will start compounding at home, work, socially, every aspect of your life. So what is going on here? Well, the reason high performers don't quit drinking just like that is their brains don't yet believe that an alcohol-free existence is actually beneficial, because they still feel that they're getting something from alcohol. They still feel that there's a benefit to drinking. I think one way of looking at it is your mind is like a ruthless CFO, and it's not going to spend money or resources in this case on something that it doesn't think is going to pay off or has a worse ROI. And basically what's happening is right now, your brain, this CFO, is seeing alcohol as the quickest way to get the result that you want and change how you feel. So it's going to resist anything that it sees as slower or riskier. You know, you've probably built a career and a life and a job and a business and all of these things on actually navigating what's going to be an efficient way of doing things. And sadly, alcohol feels like an efficient way. So in order to overcome this, what we need to do is kind of fix the evidence in your brain. So now in the first part of this video, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the 4-minute mile concept and how it relates to your identity. So until May 6th, 1954, the 4-minute mile was just a myth. In fact, they thought it was impossible. But as with all of these things, what happened? One person went and did it. And as we know, that person was Roger Bannister. And the thing is, like, nothing kind of mystical changed here. All that happened was, I guess, like the ceiling moved. It kind of, the whole ceiling just was raised. And it's, we can see this all the time with the, modern athletes like Usain Bolt, and, pick whatever discipline you like, boxing, MMA, whatever. They all seem to follow this pattern of humans seemingly overcoming the impossible, and all of it relates to belief. So what you need to do is to get yourself better evidence, or actual any evidence, that your life is going to be better without alcohol. You're going to need to build up these reference experiences. So clearer mornings, better relationships, higher focus, ability to do deep work, all of these things that are just not present when you're drinking, which intellectually, but your brain, you can't logic yourself out of this. Your brain needs evidence. It's a comparison machine. It's an evidence collating machine. And you telling your kind of just telling your brain that this is the way that it's going to work is not going to work. If it was as simple as realizing that alcohol was bad, then you would just stop. But it's not that. So what you need to do is we need to work on this kind of identity change and build up the evidence that all of this is actually for the benefit of you. Because the old system in your brain is going to collapse and it's going to be replaced with a new one. And what you need to happen is the old version of you, the old thinking, needs to kind of be stripped away and replaced with better data and new thinking. And it's not a case of changing who you are as a person and hypnotizing you or whatever. It's a case of just putting new evidence in place as you have done throughout your whole life. I'm sure you've done something, it didn't work, and you think, oh, I won't do that again. It's like, the analogy of touching the hot stove. It's like you burn yourself and think, oh, I won't do that again. It's the same thing. We're going to replace these beliefs. And this leads neatly into the second part of the video of basically why does your brain fight you and why it's not your fault. Your brain is basically this hugely sophisticated comparison engine, this evidence gathering machine. And in order to keep you alive and do what you need to do on a day-to-day basis, it prefers known quick wins to kind of slow unknown wins possibly. And it's like it doesn't like to sort of go down an unknown road when it's going to expend resources on something that it doesn't know is going to work. Now it's there to keep you alive, and I suppose it will keep you alive in the short term, but it's not very long-term thinking, as we already know. Like a good way of putting this is imagine your brain, as we said before, is like this kind of ruthless CFO that it's going to say to you, well, why are we going to burn all of this energy, this emotional energy, this kind of physical energy? Why are we going to do all of this when we know of a 5-second solution that exists? We're going to have a drink, boom, problem solved, and we can just crack on with what we're doing. But, we know that's not what we want to do, but we have the ruthless CFO in our brain. Okay, so with all of that said, what can we actually do about this? Well, that brings us on to part 3 of this video. What we need to do is replace the data set. And this is how belief actually updates. As I've already mentioned, your belief is only going to update once you have the actual reference experiences in the real world. So, what I mean by reference experiences, I'm sure you're following along, but a reference experience is real life actual evidence that what you're doing is working. It's what keeps you motivated, I guess. It keeps you going. As you start to see the evidence, your brain starts to believe. And no amount of quotes, lectures, YouTube videos, whatever, are going to fix the problem. They can give you the impetus to actually want to do something about it. But then the real work begins. And if you do want to do something about it, you can work with me. So I get you through this period. I help you build these reference experiences, and you can click the pinned comment, the link in the pinned comment. That will take you to a video. That video will explain things a bit more. Below that, you can apply to join the program. We're accepting new people now. Generally, it's for professional people, business owners, that sort of thing. If you want like a personal one-to-one service, then I can help you get free from alcohol. But as I say, it's not for everybody, and you'll have to have the means to do that. Anyway, on with the video. And all of this reference experience is going to be things like waking up at 9 a.m. and not having crushing anxiety or not feeling like absolute crap. You suddenly start to have better relationships with your wife, your children, yourself. You start to have better, more positive self-talk. There's a million things within yourself what is going to be good reference experiences for yourself, because you already have a bunch of negative reference experiences around alcohol. So a lot of the time, all you need to do is reverse them. And once we start stacking up these reference experiences, guess what happens? We suddenly cross a line. There's a threshold. There's a straw that breaks the camel's back, if you like, where suddenly everything makes sense and belief starts to cement. And I use this analogy a lot of like a kind of gravity well of things coalescing into a ball of either positivity or negativity. At the moment, you're stuck in this negative gravity well, and I want to give you the fuel to kind of reach escape velocity of that and build another positive ball that's going to coalesce. So when you cross this point, what then happens is we reach what I call the inflection point. And what is the inflection point? Okay, the inflection point is where the magic happens. That's where you're just bimbling along, everything's fine, and then suddenly belief hits you, and bang, everything just kind of rockets upwards in exponential gains. Is this going to happen overnight? No. Okay, I'm not here to bullshit you. It's a difficult road. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy, everybody could do it. I know you can do it because you're watching this video. You've made it however far it is into this video. You've probably watched my other videos. You're probably thinking of working with me. So yes, it's going to be something that is going to be a bit of a road to get there. And that's why the program is sort of 6 months long, but you get to stay in the program, you know, forever if you want. You know, we do group calls and stuff, and we have a Discord, which, you know, you can join below. If you look in the description, it's free. And you can just stay in there. And if, you know, you get the result that you want, you can help others. You know, that's pay it forward. And this inflection point is the third part of the program, if you like. It's the third part of your journey with alcohol. It's the same with anything, but we have the honeymoon period, the long, difficult middle, and then the inflection point. And my job is to get you through this long, difficult middle when you're stuck with your own thoughts and you want to quit and you want to just have a drink and you feel the pressure of life, family, everything on you, and your brain, the ruthless CFO, wants to just have a drink. And it's like, look, we can solve this problem like that. Well, if you work with me, I'm here to stop that happening. Once you hit this inflection point, everything's going to improve for you. So, you know, meetings are going to go better, your work's going to go better, your business is going to go better, you're going to make more money, you're going to have better relationships. You know, basically, you're able to actually plan for the future as well, because I don't want to make this video too long, but what I'm going to talk about now, I'm actually going to make another video about. But I find that with my own drinking and with other people that I've worked with, there's a level of emotional immaturity among people that are heavy drinkers. Now, what do I mean by that? It's not me just dissing you and, you know, calling you babies or whatever, because, you know, I'm the same. But what seems to happen is when you're a regular heavy drinker, you seem to become frozen in time emotionally. You become like the fly in Jurassic Park, the mosquito that's trapped in amber. And if you start drinking heavily at, say, 25 years old, as an example, and you drink for 10 years heavily and you're 35 years old, you suddenly find that you're emotionally in the same place you were when you were 25. Now, the good news is that you can catch up real quick, but you suddenly find yourself like a fish out of water. You find yourself, everybody else has been having these life reference experiences, as we've been talking about. You haven't been having those, you've been drinking. So anyway, let's not get too deep in the weeds on that. But once there's work, basically what I'm saying is there's work to be done once you quit drinking. And this is why people relapse and have all kinds of issues. And that's why I'm here with this kind of lifelong program, or the program for as long as you want to be in it. And another benefit is your sleep is going to improve dramatically. Now, a huge amount of mental health issues surrounded with alcohol. Obviously, it's a poison, but it's also absolutely screwing your REM sleep, and you're just not getting the actual rest that you need. So with lack of sleep comes a whole host of mental health problems that are compounded with the alcohol: anxiety, depression, things that are not cured overnight, but things that will gradually over time get a lot better. And I'm a testament to that. My anxiety was through the goddamn roof, and I am way better now. Again, there's a video on this channel that you can look at, which I'll link to at the end of this video, which is going to be how alcohol affected my anxiety. Anyway, moving on from that, let's look at, I guess, the fifth element of this video, which is going to be, I guess, I'm talking to you professional people here, you business people, what I want to look at is the business case for this, the return on investment you get. Now, you cannot logic your way out of a drinking problem or drinking too much. But what you can do is we can logic you into starting, and you can logic yourself into starting. Now, is it going to be easy? No, but it's simple, as I always say. So let's move on with the actual business case for you. Let's lay this out for you. I want you to think of yourself as like the business leader, the owner, the CEO of your business. Your business is your life, your body, who you are. You're the CEO of that. You might be a CEO or C-suite person in real life. I work with them all the time. So this is probably going to be quite easy for you guys. So what's going to happen is we're going to give you belief, which is going to lead to performance, and that performance is going to give you leverage. Now, with a clearer mind, what is going to happen? The speed of decisions is going to increase. The quality of decisions is going to increase. Your presence, your boardroom presence, whether you're working in Mickey D's or, the president, a C-suite person at Google, your boardroom presence is going to increase. And guess what? Your reputation is going to increase. Now, logically, we know this to be true. You would be the first person in the history of humanity to quit drinking, and these things get worse. You can only grow as a person when you quit alcohol. You can never diminish as a person. Alcohol has kept you trapped in this little box, in this little world. Whereas now what we want to do is take you out of that box and expand your horizons. And, you haven't got to where you are today by taking, the easy choice, the safe choice. You understand that anything worth doing is going to take some time. And this is one of those things. Okay, now, all of that said, it makes perfect sense. You're ready to get started. You're ready to kind of make that change. Finally, where do I come into all of this? As I've said before, I'm here to help you engineer that belief. I'm here to help you get those reference experiences. I'm here to help you get through that long middle, that tough time when that honeymoon period is over, which I'm going to tell you, it's easy to get through that honeymoon period. Some people's honeymoon period is 3 days, some people's is 3 weeks, and everything is fine until it's not. And then you hit that middle period where you're left just with your own thoughts. Something happens, you have an argument with the wife, your kid gets arrested or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking about myself there. But you will be tested. You will be tested, and you will want to drink. And this is where 99.9% of people go back to the drink. The ruthless CFO says, screw this, let's just have a drink. We're going to solve this problem quickly. I'm going to feel better. It will be okay. We'll just have one drink. I won't drink again for the rest of the week. You'll start doing these mental gymnastics, lying to yourself, and you're back on the hamster wheel again. So here I am to stop that happening. You have access to me in the Discord private as well. So you and I can talk on there. We can do video chats as often as you want. You can send me a text. You can send me a voice message. It's a bit like WhatsApp. It's Discord. If you've ever used it before, it's super easy, free. You can be anonymous on there as well. You don't need to put your real name if you don't want to do that. So what we're building here is this exclusive club for people that want to remove alcohol from their life. Once people are sober and are actually in a much better place, you'll find that you're with a bunch of like-minded people. But anyway, look, thank you for making it this far in the video. I love making these. I love you guys watching. I would super appreciate if you would like, subscribe, and if you can drop me a comment below, let me know what you think. Has any of this resonated with you? Are you ready to actually embark on that journey of not drinking? Is now the time for you? Because if it is, click the link in the pinned comment. It'll take you to a video, and then below that you can click apply. I am accepting new people before Christmas, and then we're going to shut it over Christmas, and we'll start again possibly in January because I'm working with quite a few people at the moment on a private client basis. So if you want to come in kind of now. Let's get in before Christmas. But anyway, thank you for watching. And what I want you to do now is, I spoke earlier about my anxiety. Click this video here, which is, I filmed it when I was in Dubai, actually. It's on the beach, and it tells you a bit about my journey with anxiety and how quitting drinking improved my anxiety no end. All right, give it a click. Click it now.